Hi guys, welcome back to another 1.19 Skyblock episode. So I've been talking about my plans a couple times to start a new main storage in a new area, but I always said we're gonna need a couple decorative blocks for this. I'm gonna need at least some dirt so we can make grass blocks. We're gonna need some sort of tree farm so we can craft all the chests and hoppers that are required. And I said we want a concrete farm. So now that we already have the dirt farm and the tree farm, this episode we're gonna finally add the concrete setup as well. I'm still debating if I should maybe also make a dirt to grass block farm, an automatic one. I think it would be quite fun to do that as well. So I'm always getting a little bit sidetracked, start one project, and then I think it's kind of nice to have a pot soil farm as well and so on. So sometimes it takes a little bit longer for me because I'm getting sidetracked. Okay, but yeah, this episode we're gonna work on the concrete setup. But before we do that, I actually want to talk about the farm we made last episode, because in between the episodes was actually busy fixing everything here because it failed horribly. The design itself is not flawed, that's the good news. I just had a little oversight that backfired quite a bit. So I thought it would actually be a nice idea to have a switch here in case we only run the tree farm. All the logs get more or less this way sent directly into the blast chamber, and only if you run the cobble farm and then turn on the nether tree farm, they would be redirected towards this block stream to the cobble farm, then up again, and then towards the blast chamber again. So basically here it merges again. Okay, so I added the switch, which technically isn't really necessary, just kind of nice. But so here is the problem. So in case we now turn on the cobble farm, so this line turns on here, and we pull out this block. So that means this piston is no longer powered, and the blocks are no longer sent this way, so everything just goes this way. Now, if you turn off the cobble farm again, you're left in a situation where you have exactly one log in there. This is actually a problem, because if you now turn the farm back on and you get a new log incoming, we push this way, so one log goes this way while the rest of the other log goes this way. Now the next tree can grow, but we already pushed the log this towards this direction, and it will be sent along all the way and still up where the lines are merging. And if you're a little bit unlucky, then we try to push in a block at the same time from two sides, and it does get stuck. And this is a problem. And I already thought about this. So that's why I had a system. If we turn the cobble farm back off, it also triggers this piston. Now, here was the mistake I made. I basically triggered this piston immediately as soon as we were flicking the switch there. So the cobble farm was still busy pumping in blocks from this side, and we tried to push in the one log here from the other side as well at the same time. And what actually happened, the log got stuck here. And when I turned on the farm the next time, this went unnoticed. And everything broke horribly. I had to fix it all. And then I didn't fix the blast chamber correctly. And it broke again. So that's why I had to fix everything twice. And the second time I also broke every single block that got pushed into the blast chamber to completely reset it. So I'm actually kind of glad that I used this large blast chamber here that you can easily fix by completely removing all the blocks, and then it works again. So some other blast chambers where you have T flip-flops and so on, sometimes just removing the blocks isn't enough. Anyway, so I was really busy between the episodes fixing the stuff here. What we have now, in order to automatically solve this issue, is I added this observer over there. It detects the blocks directly when they're moving. So if I turn the cobble farm off, we still got a couple cobble blocks moving for a while. And then after the observer, I have a pulse extender. So this adds a bit over a second of delay as well. And then if we just follow this redstone dust line here, we power the piston. And then it can be just pushed in without any chance of two blocks being pushed in at the same time. Alright, so one little mistake, one little oversight, and it cost me a couple hours. But enough about that. One more thing. What's going to jump over the void there? somebody commented, I've got the name, actually gonna look it up and yeah, tell you who it was, commented that instead of having a setup where we can switch between basalt and cobble this way, that it would actually be nicer to have a block swapper. So if you trigger the node block, it would only display, for example, the cobble block, and if you trigger node block again, it will only display the basalt. So this way, yeah, it also tells us which is selected without the redstone lamps. So this is a great idea, and it's something you can easily implement. Pro Triforcer was the name of the commenter that suggested to have the block swapper. Alright, so let's actually add it. This time we're gonna do the creative content in survival, because I feel like this is a circuit that isn't too complicated. I can probably do this in survival even. So of course a chance to fail miserably as well, but I hope I can pull this off. Okay. Don't make block swappers too often, but they got really simple. I even made a tutorial yeah, about one a while ago. Hopefully you can still remember it. Okay, so we can actually use a button this time. I was wondering, should I use a redstone lamp with the button attached? That's probably a good idea. So we're gonna have the input here. The inconvenience is a bit low. And then directly above we would have the cobble or basalt. I think that's good. Should we have it one higher? Always have to look down to activate the button. Maybe one higher would be good. Let's go for that. Okay, so one higher. Then, yeah, it should be clear. Okay, so block swapper setup. We need a sticky piston, one further to the back, and definitely a sticky piston to pull stuff out. Okay. So, the setup never works. Yeah. Got a mod with this. Okay, then here we have the other two sticky pistons. And now we need to power everything. So the powering is actually quite simple. We just need to power this sticky piston here. And then from there, we need 2 pulses for the pistons on the side. So like this. Blocks there. There we go. And in total, to reset everything, we need 4 pulses. Okay. It's actually quite convenient. We have the redstone lamp, so we can actually just put an observer directly there. That would power the sticky piston, get 2 pulses out of this. Yep, survival redstone. Even with simple stuff, it's a bit hard to do in case you have no build plan. Okay, so we get 1 pulse, this turns on, and 1 pulse if turns off. So this is getting powered too often, I think. Let's see, let's actually try it out. This is already a whole setup. So we're just gonna put the basalt here. There we go. Try it out. Okay, it gets reset this way. I think the cobble actually has to be on the right. Okay, cobble. Basalt. Easy enough. Yeah, perfect. That was it. Didn't think it would go that smoothly. Okay, perfect. And then we just need to change the redstone in the back that sends the signal over to yeah, the cobble or basalt farm. Don't need sticky piston there anymore. Now, of course, we get 2 pulses here, but yeah, we only need 1. So what are we gonna do here? I guess the flip-flop again. Yeah. Just an observer on the side. And remove 2 redstone. There we go. You activate this once, we get a signal. And then if you activate it again, get the signal to switch it. Okay, now it's set to stone. Is this correct here with the basalt farm? Yes. Okay. Let's bridge over. Let's try it out real quick. Switch it to basalt. Sweet. And quick look in free cam. Okay, and also the blue ice is pushed in. Okay, think it's actually a bit nicer than what we had before with the redstone lamps. Okay, next let's work on the concrete farming setup. That's actually also super simple. All we gotta do is place down concrete powder blocks, and you have a water source next to it, and then push those concrete blocks towards the blast chamber so they will be blown up. So of course you can also do the dual wielding. It's also a really good option, but since we already have the blast chamber, it's almost no extra effort. Just hook it up there. And it's also faster. So if you just hold right mouse button, you would place a block every 4 ticks. So that means you can get 18,000 blocks per hour. It's perfect. That's exactly the speed the blast chamber can handle. And if you would do the dual wielding, so we place a block and then break it, you get 9,000 concrete per hour. So using the blast chamber is just twice as fast, and it's not a lot of effort. Also, since we have the auto crafting table, it actually would be nice to craft the concrete powder on the go. So I just need to bring over sand and gravel. That's just gonna get mixed in the auto crafting table with the dye I put in. And then also I can put in different dyes. So I guess at first I'm gonna make white concrete. So I just put in white dye, and I can just take it out and make colored concrete next. And I still just need to provide the sand and gravel, so we won't have like a lot of unused concrete powder that we crafted laying around. So we just craft the concrete powder if we actually also need it in a way. Okay, just another question. Where do we build this? I was thinking we actually have a lot of space here below the whole blast chamber district. Let's just jump down, or actually show you that I finally redid it, removed the water, and added powder snow with carpet on top. Okay, so I was thinking we could actually maybe have it down here. Maybe just actually right here, and then the blocks will be pushed this way up, and then here we can maybe merge it again with the main block stream coming from the nether tree farm. Okay, one hand is actually good that I have so much space between, so we can still insert things, but it's getting really crowded and messy already. But I could also maybe already put it into this block stream coming from the dirt farm. So there's many possibilities to hook this up. Just, I don't know, choose the one that suits us best. Alright, now this concrete powder placing and crafting setup should still be quite simple, but I feel like I'm gonna figure this out in creative real quick. It's really just a clock that dispenses concrete powder into the little crafting system, and then build it up in survival. Alright, so this time I also made the farming setup slightly fancy. So if we farm our concrete here, it looks a bit nice. Okay, so the idea would be that we just flick this lever. The dropper here will supply us with concrete powder. I actually still need to get the bucket and waterlog the leaves here. So the concrete powder will turn into concrete immediately and is then just getting pushed up towards the blast chamber. So if we take the stairs up here, we get the input for gravel and sand. I already ran over to the sand farm 3 times and got all of the sand. Still need to get the gravel from the bartering setup. And here on the side, we have a chest for dye. It's also a trapdoor. In case I want to swap colors, I need to take out all dye out of this dropper and just put in the new color. So we have access to this dropper hopper, and I just put the chest on top so we have more storage. So in total, we can store like 3 double chests of gravel and sand, can make a bit over 10,000 blocks. I think this should be enough for the current stage of the game. It's not like we're gonna do any huge projects. I even thought about having some sort of selection system, so we can just select the type of dye we want to use. This would make it even more convenient, but maybe later. I think this is definitely enough for now, because I already thought this might get a bit complicated, because there's like 7 primary colors you can mix all these 16 colors of dye out of. And I thought we could maybe make a crafting system for that. Now we need to store 7 colors of dye, but then I quickly realized this might get a bit complicated without having a lot of dyes stored all the time. So just wait for the simple system this time. But maybe once we have shulker boxes, we could make a fancier one. I actually left the side here open with the redstone so we can take a better look. It's not too complicated, so all we basically do here is start a clock. Every 4 ticks we send a 0 tick pulse to the piston. So the piston head and arm is extended the least amount of time possible, so you can always place a block here on top. And what we also do, every 8th time or activation, we request 8 new concrete powder blocks from the crafting system. So again, here we got just some T flip-flops or binary counters that send a pulse into the crafting systems. So basically through this block here. What we do is we put in 1 dye. It's in this dropper right now. And here we got the sand and gravel droppers. They would put in 4 of those blocks. So we got 9 in total. The crafting recipe is shapeless, so the order doesn't even matter. And then we also push a redstone block back and forth. So while we put in the items here into the crafting table, we lock the hopper minecart so it doesn't take out items. And then actually got a comparator here that measures that the crafting table is full. And then we just push the redstone block to the side again. Okay, then the hopper minecart grabs the items. It's sitting on top of 2 hoppers, so we can get the double hopper speed for 18,000 items per hour. It's just fed to the dropper here, and the player just stands there and receives the items. Also made it a bit more fancy. So even have a system that measures if you still have sand, gravel, and dye in those droppers here. And if any of those runs out, we immediately turn the system off. So it's actually timed pretty well. As soon as this runs out, we stop the clock by just pushing away the block here. So right now, since we're still missing gravel, it's also pushed away. Usually it would be between the repeater and the redstone dust, and this basically stops any new signals going to the crafting system. Because what would happen otherwise is that we put in like an incorrect recipe, like only dye and sand, which of course gives us weird results that we don't need at all. So that's why I made this system that turns it off immediately. Kind of worked out with the timings, so I'm pretty happy about that. And we also stopped the dropper clock, just with a little bit of delay here, like 3 seconds later, so this also doesn't get triggered anymore. Okay, so slightly fancy setup. I still need to run and get the gravel real quick. I also added another portal here on the side, because we don't have shulker boxes yet. I even emptied the contents of my ender chest and inventory as much as I can, so we can bring over a lot more gravel at once. So I'm just gonna take like 3 trips to the bartering setup. It's like 500 blocks each time to the left. So here is basically the main portal. And now we got a side one as well, to get to this area. It's also kind of convenient. Alright, so I'm gonna run over there a couple times and then we can start the system. Alright, so after a bit of running, the chest is also now stocked with gravel. So time to turn this on. I really hope I set it up correctly because I don't want to fix everything again. Okay, so let's see. Just turn it on here. Why is the piston not getting triggered? Oh, that's not good. Let's see. Let me get some redstone dust, maybe. That would make sense, at least. No? Oh, I see. The redstone dust updates the piston here. Oh, I actually set it up incorrectly in creative. We have to find a workaround for this first. Okay, so you basically get a zero-tick pulse generator. The observer gets pushed down, powers this block. This piston here is powered by QC. So it gets updated by the piston here, but if I run the redstone line here directly next to the piston, it's actually getting updated by the redstone dust before this piston can fire. Yeah. Locational redstone dust ruining it again. So it kind of worked in a creative world, I think, but the piston here doesn't get triggered. Guess we just have to redirect the redstone dust somehow. This might get a bit ugly. Okay, so somewhat simple fix here. We're just redirecting the redstone dust this way. And now it doesn't update the piston here directly. Okay, let's try it out, finally. Yeah, let's turn it on here. Then I can start placing right away. Okay, I think I'm gonna use a command so I can actually see what's going on. Wait, do we not get any... Oh, we don't get any concrete powder anymore. Of course, the target block solution only works. The target block is down. Sometimes it's frustrating. Okay. But today I won't be bothered at this. So usually a lot of time when doing redstoning is wasted or spent trying to make things compact. But you can actually save a lot of time by not caring about this. Let's just go out one block further to the side and redirect it this way. Because in the end, who cares? I mean, we have enough space. Alright, let's turn it on again. This time, hopefully the final time, yeah, looks good. And dropper. We're also getting concrete powder. Okay, I'm actually gonna use a command so you can follow the blocks here. If they get sent correctly towards the blast chamber. So you're up, over, down, and now it kind of merges here with the blocks that usually come from the dirt farm. Okay, everything gets pushed this way. And here down, merging with the nether trees. Okay, and we don't run it through the cobble farm, of course, so it's going directly into the blast chamber. So this looks pretty good to me. If I look at my hotbar, yep, we're also in a pretty good cycle. Got 35 concrete powder left, pretty much. So that's kind of looking good to me. So at this point, I probably already have like 3,000 white concrete. Blast chamber also kind of looks clean with all the white concrete. That is also collected here at the same storage system. Added like 3 more slices now to collect this. But of course, if you would want to make like 16 different colors of concrete, then this would be a lot of item filters and so on. I think I'm just gonna actually swap out the filter items in case I switch the color. Instead of adding like 2 or 3 filters for each color of concrete that we will make. So it's a bit of a problem here because the items are always rotating around. So at first I actually thought, why not just redirect all the concrete we get to this setup, to those chests. But also I actually had the chests here initially. But then I realized if you turn this on, in a lot of cases, there's probably gonna be like 300-400 blocks from the tree farm or cobble farm filling up the blast chamber until we actually get the first cobble. This would also all be sent there, which is kind of inconvenient. And then afterwards we got all the cobbles still in the block streams. So if we turn it on the next time, we would get some concrete that is then sent to the filters. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna use those chests here to store maybe concrete blocks in the end and some dye so we can swap around. A couple minutes later, the machine stopped as intended because we were running out of dye. It's all good. So this is now completely empty. No more white dye was left. and the machine stopped. Also the lamp here turned off, quickly indicating what's wrong. But yeah, we still got plenty of sand and gravel left, so we can run this again once we supply more dye. Okay, yeah, machine was working great. You can also maybe quickly check how much we've gotten. I think it should be around 7,000-8,000 concrete in those 3 chests here. Yeah. Yeah, almost 3 double chests are filled. So that should be definitely plenty, yeah, white concrete to build with. Yeah, white concrete is usually actually my choice of block when it comes to just redstoning, so something I can put my repeaters and redstone dust on. At first here I was using blackstone, then I swapped to using iron blocks, but I guess from now on, yeah, I'm gonna use the white concrete again. That's why I made a lot of this stuff. I'm gonna use it later. Okay, then one thing I actually had to do today, which I kind of wanted to get rid of, was the dual wielding for the concrete. So you can, as I said earlier, you can also use dual wielding to turn a concrete powder into concrete. And we built the whole machine basically to get around this and make it a bit quicker. But what I actually also did today was stripping a lot of logs, and here you can basically do the same. Put the stems in your offhand, stand in a corner, and hold right and left mouse button. But as you can see, this is not perfect. Sometimes you would mine stems before they're actually getting stripped. So I was thinking, was kind of actually annoying. Let's maybe also build a setup for stripping logs next episode. That shouldn't take long. I can maybe just put it right up there next to the storage. This could also be good for stripping all kinds of logs. Technically, in case I want stripped nether tree logs, I could also just stand next to the stream of blocks and strip them this way. They get immediately blown up. But for example, the spruce logs we get here. Yeah, I can only get those if I'm standing inside of the dirt farm, actively placing saplings, and then I couldn't dual wield at the same time, of course. So here I need to do like a 2-step process where I strip the logs afterwards. Same would be if I make another tree farm, like a simple oak, birch, and spruce tree farm. I need to place saplings and can't strip logs at the same time. So I guess we can add this somewhere, maybe here on the side. Maybe just have like a clock again that pushes the blocks away and dispenses new items for us. So almost the same as we did with the the concrete setup, but you couldn't really use the same machine now since it's directly hooked up to the crafting systems on. This will only take a couple minutes. Okay, so that's the plan for next episode. What I'm also gonna add is a couple more farms for dyes. So of course now we can make white dye and a couple other colors, but not all of them. There's like 7 primary dye colors you can make the other dyes out of. So there's white and black, which we can make gray dye out of, for example. So we have, of course, the bone meal farm, and you can get black dye from the squid ink we got from the first Guardian farm. But then there's also brown, which you need a cocoa bean farm for. Green, it's can be gotten from a cactus farm. Red and yellow, we can get it from just a 2 tall flower farm. Yeah, that should be really easy to make, just need some bone meal. And then the last one would be blue. And we either do more lapis ore duping, but I'd rather get the blue dye from cornflowers. So there's one alternative. I guess we have to build one small flower farm somewhere. Ideally, I'm gonna look for, I think that they grow in a plains biome. If we have some plains around here, so we could also directly hook it up to the bone meal farm here. And if not, then we should actually finally make a mode that we just run the bone meal farm here and craft all of the bone meal automatically in the bone blocks so we can bring it somewhere else. Yeah, so that would be the plan. Couple of smaller farms next episode, and then after that, gonna start the new area with the new main storage, and we should have all the building blocks. Maybe still debating if I should pick that automatic rust block farm first. Okay, so that's the plan for the future. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Thanks guys for watching, and see you next time. Bye bye.